So, welcome back. It's been a while. So I've seen a lot of comments from you guys asking my settings when I'm shooting portraits with the X100VI. So in this video, I'm gonna share these settings to you. Let's get started. Let's start with one of my all-time favorite camera technique, or I can say camera hack, back button focusing. Ever since I discovered this technique when back in my DSLR days, I have never looked back at traditional focusing. It's simply my #1 camera hack, period. To set up back button focusing on the X100VI, we need to go to our setup menu or the wrench icon and go to button dial setting and look for shutter AF. Select AFC and turn it off. So after this, we need to set AF on to one of our function buttons, which is AEL AFL, by going back to our button dial setting, choose function setting, and look for AEL AFL, which is this button, and choose AF on. And that's it, you're now set up. For autofocus, I usually go with AFC mode or continuous autofocus like 95% of the time when I'm shooting portraits, of course. It's great for both moving and stationary subjects. Pair that with IAF and also face AF detection, and you've got a killer combo in portrait photography. It keeps the focus locked onto your subject's face or eyes, ensuring every shot is tack sharp. So to set the X100VI into AFC mode, so there's a little switch at the side of this camera. Just move it to C, which is AFC, and yeah, that's it. For my AF MF setting, AF mode, I choose wide tracking, and for my AFC custom settings, I set mine to set 2, which is generally good for moving subjects and works well with back button focusing. Now I can just press AEL AFL, which is my focus, hold that, recompose, take the shot, recompose, take the shot, recompose, take the shot, and then do it with another subject here, recompose, take the shot, and then subject again, recompose, take the shot. So the X100VI lets you easily toggle IAF and face AF detection through shortcut menus or also using a function button, making it quick to switch modes depending on your subject. So just a little tip when you're using IAF, make sure you turn it off when you're shooting like about 4 meters away from your subject, or when you're shooting multiple subjects at a time or multiple faces, because sometimes the focus will hunt around and also jumps, so it will cause you missing your shot or even your focus. Now let's talk about exposure triangle. First, shutter speed, I set mine around 1 to 300 to 1 to 600 of a second or even higher. You can set your shutter speed dial to T mode or timer mode for easy adjustments. I also recommend setting your shutter to mechanical plus electronic for most situations. For bright scenes, the electronic shutter will be very handy to compensate with the overall exposure of the scene. You can step up to higher shutter speed if you want, because I don't really recommend using the built-in ND filter of the X100VI, because that sometimes produce like color cast to your photos, which you can easily fix in post, but as much as possible, don't use it. So aperture, I usually shoot wide open at f2 for that maximum background separation. However, in rare cases, like when I want a bit more background detail to my shots, I will step down to f2.8 or even f4 if needed. For my ISO, I use auto ISO with a base of 800, which is the lowest when you're using DR400. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. If you want the cleanest possible image, turn off auto ISO and set your base ISO to 125, which is the lowest native ISO of the X100VI. I also have 3 settings for my auto ISO. I'm gonna show them in the screen, so I don't know where, but yeah, these are my settings for my auto ISO. But I really love how this camera handles or renders grain and noise. It is so much pleasing compared to other cameras. It really adds a bit of nostalgia and film look to your images. So yeah, it's beautiful. Now let's talk about one of the most exciting features of this camera, the X100VI, which is the film simulations and recipes. I always shoot in RAW paired with my favorite film recipes from the internet or from Fuji X Weekly. These recipes give me great starting point for post-processing. I really love the look of classic chrome and classic negatives, so I have a few recipes based on those film simulations. But I also have a few custom recipes just shooting for JPEGs only. I use these often when I'm out with the family and the kids, doing like a quick photo walk or some random shots in the house or in the gardens. So basically JPEGs saves some space in your SD card and it's ready for social media posting without any editing. But I think you should always shoot RAW when you're using this camera. The JPEGs are beautiful and that, but I think it's really fun to edit and play around with the RAW files coming from the X100VI. It also gives you more flexibility if you want to edit your photos in the future, giving it a little bit of a twist or maybe changing the look and feel, like the mood. So yeah, just shoot RAW. So I'll be making a full separate video talking about just film simulations and Fuji recipes, my favorite Fuji recipes. So subscribe and stay tuned for that. So last will be the white balance. I always set mine to either daylight or cloudy depending on the scene. I avoid shooting auto white balance because I want that consistency in my color temperatures throughout the shoot. This does not only make your post-processing easier but also ensures my photos look great in camera, especially when you're shooting JPEGs only. There you have it, my go-to settings when I'm shooting portraits with X100VI. These settings will also work with X100V and also those latest Fujifilm cameras. Remember, these are only starting points. Try to experiment, try different settings, and find what works for your shooting style. Happy shooting! If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know what your favorite camera settings are in the comments. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.